international scientific community the achievement of the COVID-19 pandemic in strengthening our health system. During this month, the capacity of the actors of the health system will be built on terms such as the incident management system, surveillance, health information systems, and basic emergency medical procedures.
As the country counts over 2 million vaccinated cases against COVID-19, a fifth wave of the vaccination campaign is scheduled to run from the 18th to the 27th of November 2022. More so as to maintain the zero polio prevalence rate, a national campaign of over 1 million children to be vaccinated aged 0 to 59 months would take place from the 4th to the 6th of November 2022 in over 44 health districts across the country.
Let us remain united and continue to scrupulously observe the measures enacted by the government and World Health Organization.
As the Cameroon government puts in efforts to fight these epidemics, the entire public is thereby called upon to jointly support in the measures put out.
The second edition of the African Education Fair that opens on Tuesday in Yaoundé was also an opportunity to exhibit Cameroon's rich cultural heritage. This was aimed at bringing youth closer to their rich cultural heritage that most of them seem to have been forgetting about it as they pay more attention to the Western civilization. Shiradin Nasseh in this report.
Bringing the youth closer to the African culture is equally the focus of this second edition of the African Education Fair that opened in Yaoundé on Tuesday, October 25th, 2022. Exhibitors drawn from all the 10 regions of Cameroon came in to showcase their know-how for these youth to see and touch with their hands what they have been learning about the history and culture of Africa and Cameroon in particular. Artwork that carry the African history, royal stools, hand-making traditional dresses, beads, and traditional slippers are some of the craft works exposed by these exhibitors.
You can see the royal stools, you can see the Bamenda dresses called togo, you can see many things, the royal mask, you can see many art objects that represent our culture. We are here to teach the young ones our culture, because they don't only have to read in books and only hear, but they have to see it and touch them with their hands. And I'm praying that they should not only see it, but they should practice it, because most of our youth today, they are outside there. What interests them is what is coming out of Cameroon, out of Africa. They forget their culture. We have to teach them our culture, and we have to follow them to see that they practice it.
The theme of this year's affair focused on education and youth entrepreneurship, issues and challenges for Africa's development. An opportunity for these youth to get interested in this trait of craft work, and why not get trained in the production of these cultural tools that represent Africa and its riches.
A 3-year contract worth 50 billion CFA francs has been signed between the African Travel Management Company and the Ministry of Wildlife and Forestry. This is aimed at seeing how to restore the reserves in Campo by preserving the ecotourism system in the country. Camdis Television was present during the signing ceremony, and this is the report. Historic wind of change, accompanied with the signing of a partnership towards the conservation and valorization of wildlife and local development in the Campoman National Park, with quality services to the benefit of the state.
To make the parks more available and to enhance the products and service offers around these parks and in these parks for tourism, for ecotourism. And the agreement we're signing today, this agreement we just signed today, permits this to happen. It's a private-public partnership, or a public-private partnership if you prefer, and it permits this to happen in that it gives a leeway to a private operator to offer those services in those parks. And we've started with Campoman.
The involvement of competent experts will contribute in yielding funds and better life.
We have in front of us a Cameroonian partner who has all the technicalities, expertise, and who will know how to bring his contribution so that this wildlife reserve becomes objects of development capable of filling state funds to permit ameliorate the living conditions of the population living around the park, just as wishes the head of state.
A hideous task ahead, well prepared for.
African travel management, when I say we, is going to have a big challenge to make that happen in Campo Man. It's a difficult context, but we are up to the task because we've done that in areas that are a bit more difficult than that before. We have absolutely no doubt that it will be a success, and it will open up the way for many other operators, just like African Travel Management, who would wish to operate in other parks tomorrow.
The Campo Man National Park, on about 26,400 hectares of land, is rich with leisure sites. The partnership agreement signed is a very important step moving towards using ecotourism to finance the conservation and enhancing the well-being of the population living in and around the national parks in Cameroon. The first ever international agro-pastoral show for plantain and banana will be taking place in Vangan, that is in the south region of the country. Preparations ahead of this grand ceremony intensify. The regional councillors of the south region were received today by the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Gabriel Bairobe, during the meeting that presented a rundown of the program that will begin in some few weeks from now. Camdis Television was present. Let's watch. Banana and plantation cultivation in Cameroon is experiencing an improvement through efforts multiplied by the government and local producers. After the Ebolova Agro-Pastoral Show in 2021, Councillors delegation meets. The South Region Councillors delegation meets this October 26 in Yaoundé with the Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development, Gabriel Bairobe, to present a rundown on how the first ever international feast for the Banana Plantation Show will take place in Vangan, South Region, in few weeks from now.
We intend to organize in Ebolova an important event for the producer of banana plantain in Cameroon and maybe in Africa. And the president of this association asked to the South Council to support this initiative. And the minister have agreed to be the important host of these events.
Preparations ahead of the feast in Vangan South region are ongoing to valorize their banana plantation sector in the south.
We have to prepare our town for it to be naturally beautiful. We have to sensitize the population and producers to come out in their numbers and receive the minister and high personalities that will accompany him and who will come and present their banana plantain that is produced abundantly in our community. We are working on it and to mobilize everyone so that the feast should be relatively beautiful in Vangan.
Since the 16th century, the Penja plantation in the littoral region, a very fertile land, exports much quantity of banana in Africa. 16,109 tons sold in September 2022, a decrease of 21.3%. The Ministry of Agriculture accompanies this upcoming International Agro-Pastoral Show to valorize and boost banana plantation production in a bid to accompany the government in achieving the National Development Strategy by 2030. We now take you out of the country where 50,000 civilians have voluntarily been recruited to support the army in the fight against the jihadist group in northern Burkina Faso. This recruitment comes after the failed September coup that was led by Ibrahim Traoré. We have this and other stories with Sheradin Nasser.
Authorities in Burkina Faso has launched a drive to recruit 50,000 civilian defense volunteers to help the army fight jihadis. These massive recruitments are in addition to the one-time recruitment campaign of 3,000 soldiers to bolster the ranks of the army in the fight against jihadis. These campaigns come after a September 30th coup led by Captain Ibrahim Traoré, whose stated aim is to strengthen the anti-jihadist fight. At least 10 soldiers were killed and about 50 wounded on Monday in a terrorist attack in Jobo, a town under jihadist blockade for 3 months in northern Burkina. Zimbabwe is on the brink of its biggest wheat harvest in the country's history due to efforts to overcome the global shortages of grain caused by the war in Ukraine, though bushfires and lack of rains are threatening crops yet to be harvested. Like other African countries, Zimbabwe has for decades relied on import to offset low local production. But after Russia's invasion of Ukraine resulted in global shortages and prices high, according to the Deputy Agriculture Minister Vangelis Haritatos, the country wanted to ensure self-sufficiency at all costs. The country therefore is expecting to harvest 380,000 tons of wheat, 20,000 tons above what is consumed domestically. The former president of Niger, Mahamadou Issoufou, has warned of the consequences that befell the Sahel, a region plagued by acute insurgency. Issoufou further said that the war in the Sahel has been neglected by the world and instead more attention has been given to Ukraine, terming it a double standard. He added that he holds the international community responsible for the situation in the Sahel following their military intervention in Libya. The former leader was speaking during the just concluded Dakar 8th edition of the Dakar International Forum.
That was the package we had for you, dear viewers, a recap of our major stories. The Minister of Public Health, Dr. Manauda Malashi, presided over a conference today to give statistics on epidemics like COVID-19, monkeypox and cholera in the country. It is quite impressive that the government is maintaining its feet and the situation is under control. Experts have signed a contract with the Ministry of Wildlife and Forestry to see how to preserve the ecotourism system and the ecosystem in Cameroon. The signature took place yesterday, October 25th, 2022. And out of the country, 50,000 volunteers have been recruited by the army to assist them in fighting the jihadist group in northern Burkina Faso. This recruitment comes after the coup that took place on the 30th of September, led by Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Dear viewers, thanks for watching. Tomorrow, God willing, is another day. Goodbye.